Welcome to the NBA, NFL, NBA in the brain. So used to do NBA videos. Anyways, I am Kevin. That is Taylor. This is the NFL DFS breakdown. This is the DFS build. We're going to walk you through the main slate for Week 10 over at DraftKings. Hopefully, help you out. Certainly did that last week if you caught our video or caught our premium content over at DFS build. What was the feedback?
Oh, you're still there.
Okay. Though. I'm sorry. Okay, so I had our video live in another tab. Anyways, sorry about that. We are back to it. Point is, we're going to go game by game, hopefully helping you out. If we do help you out in any way, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and come over to Discord. Discord is free. If you want our premium content, just $5.99 a month for everything that we have to offer. Right now, we're covering NBA, MMA, and, of course, a lot of posts on NFL to get you situated. We have showdown content out there and ready to rock, so take advantage of that. If you are watching live for this stream, feel free to drop a comment, and we will try to answer it as we get going here. All right, let's go game by game. Start with the Saints. Obviously not very appealing on the road against the Panthers. This game has a week 39.5 total, and the Saints are 5-point dogs. I mean, Chris Olave at 6'2", I guess, is okay. They've traded Rashid Shaheed away. You got Tanner Shuck at 4-3. Just nothing here looks really all that fun. What do you think?
Yeah, this game sucks. The Saints are bad. The Panthers are not good either. IMO.
Hey, as a Packers fan,
I know they beat the Packers. Packers, guess not any good either. But not really seeing much. Like I'm not
dare you,
into
by
the
the way.
Saints.
No, we can mostly skip them. I think.
Olave. I think the other side has one pretty appealing player.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to play Saints, Godspeed. I just don't see the point in doing that to ourselves. On the other side, Rico Dowdle has just been crushing every week. The only time he wasn't was when Chuba Hubbard came back from injury and they felt obligated to split the carries. They decided after a short while that was stupid and they went back to Rico. And, of course, he had 28 fantasy points last week. So coming in with a 17-point fantasy projection, still only 6.3K. The Saints are a very good matchup. He's owned, but that's the only reason to not play him. I don't really have a good argument against him. I'm going to play him. He looks awesome. I guess you could play with the Bryce Young, Tet McMillan stack if you want. You could play the Panthers at 3.5 against a bad Saints offense. I don't think any of that is something I have to do. I think Rico, though, looks like a core play.
Yeah, not much to add. Too cheap for the role. Not expecting 200 total yards again, but you never know. It is the Saints. It's certainly in his range of outcomes. So for 6'3", I'm pretty much all in on that. You can always fade a chalk running back like this. Like, it's not like he's Christian McCaffrey, but given the spot, given the role, don't really see a great reason other than ownership to get away from that. Carolina defense is pretty expensive. I'm still getting some of that, but hard to love that, even against Tyler Shuck. Tet McMillan's cheap, but I don't know. I don't think playing Bryce Young is ever really something I'm super excited to do, especially this week.
No, I mean, like, they seem pretty content just running 25-plus times a game if the opposition will allow them to. I just don't see like a direct pivot away from Rico. I don't see that many great values right now at running back. Like, we had a lot of them last week, and now like DeAndre Swift is back, so Kyle Monangai isn't going to be the easy play that he was last week. So the situations just aren't all there, but Rico's is. So I just think it's a don't get too cute situation, and I'm going to play him everywhere. Giants against the Bears. The Bears gave up a ton of points last week, and the Giants are capable enough. So I do think Jackson Dart at 5'7" looks really, really good. Obviously, if he's going to be chalky, you can go away from that. I do have a direct pivot we will get to later. But honestly, you could just eat the chalk here. Dart looks really good. Wan'Dale Robinson's involved, 5'3". He looks good. Theo Johnson, 3.8K. It is a pretty good spot against the Bears. He's been hit or miss, but he's there. They don't really have anybody else to throw to. That said, that's chalk I don't mind getting away from. I think Dart looks awesome at 5'7", but I think, also he is a raw rookie with not that many reliable weapons. So if the rushing floor does not, present itself, obviously Dart could fail pretty easily. So I do like him a lot, but he is chalky.
Yeah, I'm pretty interested. I think like I was saying last week, at least in Discord, without Malik Neighbors, I think he's definitely someone you can play on their own. Like I don't feel the need to stack him with Wandale or Theo or Slayton or whoever. Like it's not a great receiving core. Theo's cheap, so that worth a shout. Is there like a seagull behind you?
Yeah, there was something. We got some bird action. Got some serious bird action in the back.
We do have bird mascots on the show today. Yeah, it's kind of just dart or nothing. Like I think Wandale's okay at 5'3", but he is going to be pretty chalky, it looks like, once again. So not psyched about that. He does have significant ceiling. He's a big play threat. He's a PPR guy, so there are multiple routes for him to get there. So I think he's okay, but generally I think I just prefer dart and ignoring the rest of this team.
Yeah, I think Robinson and Theo are good plays. I just think at ownership, I'm probably going to do something a little bit different. And then Dart is just like he's just a really good play. I think he's a cash play. But I think at that ownership, I think it does make sense to consider going away from him a little bit, but looks great. On the other side, Caleb, not that owned. He looks good for just $300 more. He was awesome last week with 38 fantasy points. The Giants are a very good matchup. So if you want to go right back to the well, you certainly can. I'm not really interested in the running back situation with DeAndre Swift back. Like I would imagine if the Bears are smart, and it seems like Ben Johnson is, that they will now split the load between Swift and Monangai. Like that means one of them will probably be okay, but both of them succeeding is not likely, and I'm not going to pay 5-6 or 6-1 to find out. Rome Odunze got blanked last week, and he hasn't really been that good lately. But obviously that could always change. He could bounce back. It is a good spot. So he and DJ Moore both look good. I do like Rome a little bit as a bounce back candidate, somebody that maybe the field won't be super excited to take a chance on. And Caleb at like half the ownership of Dart is appealing.
Yeah, it's just kind of tough to prioritize them. They will kind of spread it around a little bit with Moore and Zacchaeus and Loveland now emerging a little bit. It's a really good matchup for the run game. But like you said, it's kind of unclear what they're going to do. I think Swift is viable, but 6-1's not a discount. It's purely like a pivot off of Dowdle, but significantly lower floor. Don't think the ceiling is as high either. So don't really think that's something you need to do. I think he's viable, but not great. Okay with the Dunze, just kind of hoping the big play stuff is there. Maybe after last week, they make a more concerted effort to get him involved, which wouldn't take much after he got blanked last week. Loveland still okay at 4-1. Like he's a first round rookie. They're phasing him into the game more and more. So you could argue he's underpriced, but not really finding myself getting to a whole lot here in general, even though it is kind of a decent spot.
No, I think normally I would be pretty excited to play Swift at this price because the Giants are second worst against running backs. But with Monangai kind of like, showing everybody that he can play too, that's the main reason why I'm pretty hesitant to do that. Plus, he's coming back from injury, so you just don't know. It's going to be limited or as effective and all that. So I do like the Bears a little bit. I think that's a good stackable game. I think I just lean more on the Giants side right now. Excuse me. All right, Jaguars in Houston. This game is disgusting. Has a 37.5 total. Both defenses are going to be in play. 3.1 Houston looks like the better option, but then again, the Jaguars at 2.6K save you $500, and they're going to be facing Davis Mills, the one and only. Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, Brian Thomas Jr. I'm not really interested in paying for these guys. T-Law is cheap. I mean, they're all like fairly priced, but I'm not going to do that. Parker Washington's price went up like $1,000. I see no reason to mess with Jacksonville on a slate like this.
Yeah, I don't either. Houston is the best defense in the league. So I'm not really sure what the point is of targeting them on a big slate with the Jaguars, who with Jacoby Myers might kind of spread things out a little more. Obviously, no Travis Hunter, but who knows how much Myers will be involved. He's only been on the team for a couple days. There's, in theory, value with guys like ETN and stuff, but not really into it. I just don't see the point in targeting Houston with this team. Like you said, the Jaguars defense against a bad backup, nevertheless, is worth a shot. The Houston defense as well looks a bit cheap. Like Trevor Lawrence will turn it over on you a little bit. And given the talent there, I think they're underpriced. So Houston's okay. Nico Collins as a one-off, whatever, like maybe. He's Nico Collins, so he's capable, but it's hard to have faith in the Texans to do a goddamn thing. Like they did not do anything last week. once CJ went down, there's just no point. Like, it's a big slate. There's a lot of good spots to target. This game can go fuck itself, pretty much.
Okay, I will say I do have interest in Nico. 6-7 is a good price for Nico. The Jaguars are not great against wide receivers, and they got just destroyed by Brock Powers. Like, they're different positions, but Nico is a similar player to Brock. He's a big-bodied guy, very physical and explosive. So I just think a similar outcome is possible. And Davis Mills is not a good starting quarterback, but he's actually a pretty good backup quarterback. He has a lot of.
Unfortunately, he's a starting quarterback this week.
No, so. I know, but I'm just saying he steps into a starting role. I think to be a good starting quarterback, you have to be a consistent quarterback. He's not a consistent starting quarterback, but for 1 week against a porous Jaguars secondary, I think he could be okay. I'm not going to play him at 4.5K, but honestly, it's not the worst thing. I loved Geno last week for the very same reasons. Geno is 4.6.
Geno has a track record of being a good NFL quarterback.
Yeah, Davis Mills, they didn't win with him. He wasn't consistent, but he did have spike games. He did have good games. So, hey,
this is one of your craziest takes ever, and I'm not here for it.
Dude, we both liked Cam Ward once this year.
Cam Ward was the number 1 pick in the draft.
It doesn't matter. I'm telling you. Davis Mills at 4.5K is a viable punt and a good stacking option with Nico. It's not something I'm going to do a lot of. I just think if you want to save money, you want to take a shot on a little bit of upside here, the matchup is good. Same reason I like Geno last week. Same reason I like Davis and Nico. I'm not getting to Davis a lot at all. I'm just saying like 1 or 2 lineups with Davis Mills and Nico together is appealing to me. But you can play Nico naked too. If you don't want to do the Davis thing, you really don't have to, and I'm not really saying it's a high exposure thing at all. Woody Marks, no, not really interested in anything else here. The Texans defense looks great. But yeah, like I feel like the Jaguars defense is going to be more popular because Davis Mills and because they're $500 cheaper, and kind of think Houston's going to do okay here. I don't know I think you're a Texans fan and you hate yourself in the Houston because of it, but like honestly, this is a good spot for them. So I'm going to have a sprinkling of Davis in there, and Nico just alone, he could just get by on volume and a couple big plays. So anyways, we spent entirely way too much time on Houston. I acknowledge that, and I ask for your forgiveness. All right, next up, Buffalo at Miami, 50.5 point spread. Or I mean,
it could be.
Man, you never know.
50.5
that actually is not impossible. 50.5 point total, 30 point team total for the Bills. Like, good Lord. Miami is this close to firing Mike McDaniel. So the wheels are about to fall off. I don't know why, but like the system here is loving Dolphins players, specifically Achane because he is Achane. And Bills' run defense is not great. So I do see the interest there. But my interest is mostly on the Bills side. Obviously, Josh Allen does not need a big sales pitch at 7K. Best projecting quarterback of the slate. I don't need to say anything else. He looks awesome, and Miami sucks. James Cook is probably what I'd rather do if I'm paying money on the Bills, though. They're very bad against the run, and James Cook is super explosive and super involved. 2 weeks ago, he had 200 yards rushing. Little nicked up, though, so we might have a Ray Davis, Ty Johnson situation. But my favorite play on the Bills this week is 4.3K Dalton Kincaid. Everybody's paying up for Trey McBride or going down to Theo Johnson. Dalton Kincaid against the 5th worst defense against tight ends looks awesome.
It's cracking me up because it sounds like you're on like a houseboat and there's a seagull just sitting on your roof.
I don't hear the seagull anymore. The seagull's gone.
No, it's not. I still hear it like every 3 seconds. It is calling out there.
This mic is too good. It's so good that it picks up like shit from like a mile away, some seagull beckoning out to the world. Give me bread. So like it is what it is, man. It picks up everything. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. It's a great spot for Buffalo. I see the Miami stuff. I understand why they're popping. Like they're cheap. 2 is under 5K. Maybe if the game gets out of hand, they're throwing the whole second half and Tua kind of gets there in garbage time. I will have some of that just because it's very easy to play him with Jalen Waddle, and Waddle's still
he's also affordable. Liable to get benched, though.
Of course. Nothing is safe. We just advocated Davis Mills. So I think
don't you dare lump yourself in with that. That was me only. If Davis Mills goes off, you can thank this guy right here.
Yeah, and when he doesn't, you can Cuss it, Kevin, like the bird outside.
That's fair.
Yeah, like Achan's fine, 7,400. Think that's reasonable. James Cook, 7,500. Great play if he's in. No real, nothing really much to add. I think Shakir is going to be somewhat chalky, which I don't love. Like, I think Kincaid has a leverage play on that's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Allen, 7K. You can argue he's still too cheap for who he is.
Yeah.
So I think that is fine. But given the blowout potential, I'm not psyched about it. But obviously, if Buffalo blows them out, someone's probably getting there.
Yeah.
I think Cook is the most likely. But you can always make a case for Allen with, his random receivers who get there every now and then.
Agreed. I think it's interesting because Kincaid's coming off a 25-point fantasy outing last week, and he's multiple times put up like 14-plus fantasy points. I don't understand why there's not interest here. The matchup is so good. And at the same time, Shakir and Keon Coleman are getting ownership. So that's strange to me. But by the way, good point on Josh Allen, because wasn't he like 8-4 last year at one point? Like,
pricing in general has been like really, really soft this season. So it's kind of dumb.
Yeah. So like the only reason I'm not that excited about Josh Allen is because I love the value at quarterback once again. So in the name of Davis Mills, I don't think we need Josh Allen. Also, there's like 3 or 4 really good wide receivers plus C-Mac and some other running backs. So like, I don't know. I feel like I can get there at quarterback without paying $7K, all right. So on the other side, you mentioned some of these guys already. Achane is the play if you are going to play a Miami guy. He projects really well for his price. Like if you're just going to go off projections and talent and price, he feels like a must play. Like I will agree with that. And the matchup really isn't that bad. I just don't really trust Miami's offense right now. Like last time he played the Bills, he had 16 fantasy points. Is that good enough for 7.4K? No. So I'm not that excited to do that. I'd rather take a chance on like unowned Jahmyr Gibbs. I'd rather go up to get C-Mac for 1.6 more. I'd rather pivot to James Cook. Like those are the things I personally would rather do, but Achane is in a vacuum a good play. And then you can also look at the Tua Jalen Waddle thing. It's all right. By the way, Greg Dulcich, not really going to go full Davis Mills on you here, but he's only 2.6K and he is involved. Like he was pretty involved last game and he's just going to keep getting more involved, getting more snaps. So not the worst punt in the world if you don't want to pay a tight end.
Now it sounds like there's a street sweeper. I don't know if that's on my end. Might be.
There is no street sweeper here, I can assure you. Just seagulls, sir.
Because you're in the water. They don't sweep the water. I think Dulcich is fine, like you said, but pretty thin.
Yeah, for sure.
It's tight end, so nothing's really too thin for tight end.
That's true. We played Hunter Long one time.
We sure did, and it was horrible. No one's a must play. Certainly not a running back on a team that's like a 2-touchdown underdog. So good play, but if he's too steamed from an ownership standpoint, certainly something you can get away from.
Yeah, and it does seem like he very well may be. So that is one chalky spot where I am probably going to get different. So follow me if you dare. All right, Ravens and Vikings, 48.5 total, pretty good total in Minnesota. This is a tough one for me because like the Vikings do have a good defense. The Ravens have been horrendous defensively on the year until recently. They've had like 3 really good defensive games in a row. Are they just good defensively now? I don't know. But starting on the Ravens side, Lamar is Lamar. He does carry some ownership, but he has the second best projection at quarterback, and he's kind of discounted. Like he's really discounted for him. He's $200 cheaper than Josh Allen. I don't like the matchup really, but he is basically matchup proof. So if you want to pay for him, you can do that. Don't really like the matchup for Derrick Henry, but at 6'8", I think that's still in play. Zay at 5'9" looks really good. I just don't really love the spot for Baltimore, but I anticipate Baltimore winning this game because they kind of have to. So I guess they look fine. It just they're not really calling to me.
Yeah, it is a decent spot for Henry. Like the Vikings run defense has been gouged a few times this season. Jahmyr Gibbs last week was an epic failure, so maybe there's recency bias. And Henry's now at like 6,800. He was 6K like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So certainly getting no discount, but with Lamar back, life should be easier on Henry in theory. So I do like him a little bit. Zay Flowers is pulling ownership at sub 6K. He's rarely someone who totally burns you. It's a good price tag on him, but I don't really see the need to play into ownership on a guy like that. so I don't mind getting away from that. I think Lamar always someone you can play by himself, but like we've kind of talked about, there is cheaper stuff at QB. There's Josh Allen for 200 more with a higher team total. So I think I prefer Allen among those two, especially if Lamar is going to be more popular. Mark Andrews has had an okay season. He's only 3,400. I think Lamar being back obviously helps a guy like that. So I think you can punt with him.
Sure.
But in general, I think Henry's the most interesting play given the matchups, but I'm probably not getting there with a lot of volume.
No, the price on Zay is great. He had one ceiling game all year, and like you said, he's just kind of meh like the rest of the time. So now I think he's appropriately priced to the point where like you can risk it. Like you can risk him getting you like 14 and be like, oh, okay, if he gives me 14, it's not a death sentence probably. And he does have 30-point upside. So I think he's a good play, but due to the ownership, like I don't think you have to do that.
Just with his range of outcomes, like most often he's probably getting you like 14.
Right.
And if 30% of the field is playing him into that, there are a lot of ways to get different from that.
Yeah, and it's not like it's a really good matchup. The Vikings are not a fun defense at all.
They're much better against the pass. So
exactly.
Not a great spot.
Yep. All right. So on the other side, I do like some pieces here. Justin Jefferson continues to be a little bit overlooked. He continues to be too cheap. To be fair, he has not been like that dude most of the year, but we know he can be. And I also really like JJ McCarthy, 4.9K for a guy who's coming off a 19.9 fantasy outing. He does have a rushing floor. And on the year, at least, the Ravens have been a very positive matchup for quarterbacks and wide receivers. So I think that's a nice stack that's going to go a little bit overlooked. And obviously 4.9 McCarthy, who I very much would like more than Davis Mills for the record. But he saves you a lot of money. He lets you go get JSN or Puka or CMAC, whatever you want to do. Like you just don't have to worry about it as much because you're not spending any money at quarterback. But him with Jettas looks awesome. That's one of my favorite stacks of the slate. If you want to go get Addison instead of Jettas or both of them, I think that's fine. It's probably all I'm looking at here. And if I'm doing this, I'm just hoping that the last 3 weeks we've seen from Baltimore isn't really who they are, or that Baltimore leads early and McCarthy just has to throw it a ton. And both of those are pretty, likely possibilities.
Yeah, McCarthy at 4.9 is someone you can play by himself. We saw 9 rushing attempts last week. He scored a rushing touchdown.
By the way, 12 yards.
Yeah, but he found the end zone, so
True.
That's all that matters.
It's true.
But the 9 attempts is still good to see, given his lower body injuries he's had in his career so far. So they're not afraid to run him. And for 4.9, a guy like that's always playable by himself. Jefferson, sure, always in play. Addison for the deep threat. I see Hawkinson pulling some ownership. I don't know if I like that, but he is cheap. He's just not quite what he used to be when they had Kirk Cousins and all that. The running backs, not really into that. So I'm with you on McCarthy being a solid play, especially if you're playing some of the Baltimore stuff on the other side, since you can play McCarthy naked. But other Vikings, not amazing, in my opinion.
Yes, you can play McCarthy in the nude, as you said in Discord. Mm-hmm. All right, Cleveland and Jets. This is a game I'm mostly avoiding. This is a 37.5 total, right up there with Jaguars and Houston. Way to suck, guys. The one play I do like is Quinshon Judkins, 6.5K. He's back from injury. Not exactly the safest play, but he's pretty damn good, and the Jets are really bad against the run. So that is a pivot from Rico if you want to do that, or you can just pair them and not play, the A-Chans of the world if that's what you want to do. He is definitely in my player pool. I like him quite a bit. We can save money with tight ends here with Njoku or Fannin. Don't really want to do it. If I was going to, I'd save $1,000 and go Njoku. Have no interest in the passing game. Although, hey, it's worth noting the Jets traded away Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner, so even worse should they be moving forward defensively.
Even worse should they be.
Even worse should they be. I'm like about to do a fucking poem over here.
I think the Jets defense at 2.8's okay, considering they're facing Dylan Gabriel and a not very good offense. But as for the Cleveland side, I think it's just kind of Judkins or nothing. I'm not really messing with the tight ends. I'm not messing with Judy. I'm not messing with Gabriel. He's cheap, but I still don't trust him. There's other cheap stuff at quarterback, like we've talked about and will again later. So yeah, Judkins, good. Browns defense under 3K, so that's totally fine against this Jets offense. But that's it on the Brown side.
3.9K Jerry Judy, and we have no interest. What a time to be alive. All right, on the other
He's
side,
been awful.
yeah, well, they don't have a quarterback, so that'll do it. All right, on the other side, the Jets are at home, and they are not favored. Justin Fields has a terrible matchup. It is Justin Fields. He does have the rushing floor. He always has the ability to get you 20 to 25 fantasy points. So at 5-2 with nobody playing him, I think he's viable. I don't like it at all, but he's viable because he's super cheap and he does have a ceiling. Garrett Wilson coming back to some volume, 6.1K. The best way to attack the Browns is through the air, so I don't mind that. It's not something I'd get to a lot, but I think it looks like a solid mid-range play. And then Brees, if you want to live dangerously, Cleveland's very good against the run, so I don't really want to do that personally, but he is only 6K. So all these guys offer value and ceilings. You just have to be willing to, eat it if they don't do well, and they probably won't.
Yeah, I'm getting to a little bit of Hall and Wilson, both around like 10%. Just pretty good price tags on them for their upside. Like
Sure.
if Hall gets some dump offs, maybe he breaks one. There's certainly a path for him, and he's not going to be owned at all on this slate. So fine with that. Wilson, same story. Mason Taylor is still cheap for a tight end. I think he's very good. Not a great play on this slate, but in general, I think he's pretty talented. So for 3-2, I think that's not a bad play. And I mentioned the Jets defense, but your argument for Justin Fields is valid. I just don't think it's something on this slate we need to do.
No, and honestly, I feel like we should mention these things because in the name of GPP playing, like things do go the opposite way very often in the NFL. That said, logically speaking, I don't have a lot of interest in the Jets, and I would be into playing the Browns defense because the matchup is just really bad for what the Jets want to do and what they do well. They want to run the ball and stuff, and they're just not going to be able to do that effectively in this matchup, most likely. All right, Patriots against the Buccaneers. Drake May is forever in play, 6.4K, and nobody wants to play him. I'm interested in that. The matchup with the Buccaneers is not like amazing, but they have gotten some shootouts, and Drake May kind of is matchup proof to a degree, especially with that rushing floor. So 20-point fantasy projection, only 6.4K, 4% ownership. Sign me up for that. Not my number one quarterback play, but I like him quite a bit. Trevion Henderson with no Ramondre Stevenson. They don't really want to give him like a full workload for whatever reason. They just hate this kid. But he was only 5.6K. So I think he's viable. And then Stephon Diggs at 5'8". You don't have to play anybody with Drake May. You can play him in the nude if you want to, but Diggs is his number one stacking partner.
I think I'd play Henry first if I'm playing May with anyone. Just 3-5, tight end is tight end. We don't have like Brock Bowers on the slate. So I like Henry a decent amount in the spot. I think he has upside for the dollar and the matchup. Henderson did see 3/4 of the snaps last week. Terrell Jennings is the other running back who they kind of featured in a little bit, scored a touchdown.
Not the red zone touch though.
But Henderson, I don't like it, but if he's going to be completely unowned at 5'6", I think it's okay. He showed big play potential in college. So they're the national champions. I think he's playable again. I'll have a little bit of that. Looks like I'm going to be over the field on him. Feels terrible, but I think it's okay.
Yeah.
And May, like you said, May's always in play. He's just very good. There's rushing floor. This game has shootout potential. Both teams have decent totals, so don't hate it.
Yeah, the price is good still on Henderson. The role is good. I don't love that he's going to get vultured by Terrell Jennings. Buccaneers' run defense is very good. Their defense against running backs as receivers out of the backfield is very bad. So if Henderson can be involved as a receiver and get in space, that is where his speed could kill. Like he really does seem like a guy who is very fast and then bad at everything else. Like that's really what he seems like. So if you want to take a chance on speed and hopefully get some catches and take some to the house, like I'm all for it. Like it's fine. It's just I don't feel good about it. Buccaneers on the other side, they are favored by 2.5. Emeka Egbuka looks awesome. I love Emeka Egbuka on the slate, 7K, 19-point fantasy projection. He's going to be owned. I don't give a shit. Like we always talk about this. Yeah, you want to look for like chalky points to get away from, make pivots and like gain some leverage. Other spots, you just have to eat the chalk. I'm eating the Rico chalk. I'm eating the Egbuka chalk. So he looks good. If you want to stack him up with Baker, that's fine. I don't feel the need to do that. Rashad White with no Bucky Irving back, I think he's still viable at 6.4. And then if you want to save money, Tez, Cade, they're okay, but it's just really Egbuka or bust for me on this slate.
Yeah, kind of like everything. I think Rashad White I don't think he's going to be unowned, but he is in the same range as Rico. I think it's safe to assume Rico is going to be mega chalk in that range. So Rashad White at a slight discount ownership wise is in play.
Yeah.
I agree with Ibuka. Totally fine. 7K, no Mike Evans, no Godwin. There's all sorts of usage to go around for him. Tez Johnson, we've seen the big plays on occasion. He's still affordable. We know Baker likes to sling it around. So he's in play. Kate Otten, maybe a secondary play at tight end. He's just kind of more expensive than some of the others we've talked about, including Hunter Henry on the other side of the game. And that's kind of it. Bucks defense is under 3K, but I kind of believe in the Patriots offense.
Yeah. I will mention too, for the Rashad White thing, Patriots are also very good at stopping the run, but they're very bad at tracking running backs out of the backfield. 55 catches to running backs. That is the most in the NFL. So Rashad White actually looks kind of awesome now that I see that stat. And 6.4K, that is a direct pivot away from Rico because the ownership isn't egregious right now, or it's just a really fun pairing option with Rico, which is something I might actually take advantage of. All right, Arizona and Seattle. Holy hell, this is a big slate. Now that I'm starting to realize that we still have 3 games to get through.
Yeah, we got to hurry up a little bit.
But it's going to be a fun one. So Arizona, honestly, by the way, Arizona, they just beat the Cowboys, RIP Dallas, and they've been in every game, every single game this year, even when they had a 5-game losing streak. So Arizona is viable, but Seattle is very good defensively. So for me, the only thing I really feel good about is Trey McBride. I'm paying down at tight end, but if you want to pay up for McBride at 6K, I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, I love Jacoby Brissett. He's 4'6" still. He's a decent NFL starting quarterback. His weapons are cheap. Marvin Harrison at 5'3". We saw a breakout from him the other day. Much tougher spot, but he is still cheap.
Fire.
Yeah, I mean, he's letting it fly. They don't have any running backs left, so they got to kind of pass every time. And if they're going to be down in this game, that favors the receivers and the tight end. So love Brissett, love McBride, love Harrison. Kind of leave everything else. Michael Wilson, don't really need it. So I think for a cheap stack with a high upside tight end, Arizona looks pretty good today or this week.
Yeah, Jacoby's fine if you want to save a bunch of cash. Don't have a problem with it. I would favor more towards McBride running him naked. Seattle's 8th worst against tight ends. So if you want to pay a premium for him, that's fine. Seattle on the other side, JSN always in play. The price is a bit high. He was not great against Arizona last time, just 13 fantasy points, but he's been crushing it with 25 plus in each of his last 3 games. Massive role. Sam Darnold looks like the best quarterback in the NFL somehow, legitimately. So they just keep crushing. So if you want to play Darnold with JSN, you certainly can. Darnold pushing 6K. It's getting a little bit much for me, but JSN on his own is totally fine. Don't have much interest in anybody else unless Cooper Kupp is out again. 4.6K. Torrey Horton is not the worst value.
Yeah, they have Rashid Shaheed now as well, so that could kind of complicate things for the secondary guys. But JSN by his own, easily the top guy. The last matchup was a Thursday night, so kind of take that with a grain of salt. Those games are weird and bad generally. So love him. Barner, I think at 3-1 is a fine punt tight end. We've talked about a lot of them this week, but he's in play. Matchup's decent enough. Darnold, they're meeting at 5'8", not a great feeling, but if you're playing JSN into ownership, stacking him with Darnold is totally fine.
Absolutely. All right, next game, Rams and 49ers. Solid 49.5 total. Last time they faced off was Thursday Night Football as well, and it actually was a shootout when everybody thought it was going to be a defensive battle. The Rams are pretty tough defensively, and 49ers are okay. It's in San Francisco. Puka, of course, always will look great. I played him last week, and of course, he got injured when he was get 20-plus fantasy points immediately, and then he got hurt in the third quarter. Stafford at 6'5" feels rich. I don't want to do that at all. Devontae at 7'7" feels like it's getting a little bit high as well. I think for me, it's Puka or bust, and I'm not even that interested in playing him on this slate, which feels kind of bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think he looks fantastic. He's been banged up a lot. There's always a risk of that, of course, but 8,700, you can argue, is still too cheap for the guy he's been when healthy. So I will have a good amount of him. I think JSN is a little bit better in the same range, but interested in both. I'll keep playing Kyron Williams and probably keep being disappointed. I think he's gotten there once all season, but
yeah, he had 20 last week. What more do you want?
I want more than 20, I think, to win a
Well, he's like
tournament.
6.5K. That's fine.
It's not great. It's not going to win you anything, probably. But not going to be mega chalk, I wouldn't think. The one game he did get there was against the Niners, so take that for what it's worth. I think he's a pretty good play again. I think you can always play Devontae as Puka leverage. Maybe he finds the end zone 3 times and Puka just gets 100 yards and Devontae outscores him. So fine.
Yeah.
Stafford's too expensive for a no non-rushing threat. So as usual, just kind of the 3 weapons, and that's it.
Yep. All right. Other side, it's probably C-Mac or bust for the most part. I guess you could play 5K Mac Jones. Don't really want to do that. Juwan Jennings, though, 4.6. He looks good. And speaking of cheap tight ends, 4.5K George Kittle absolutely is in play. All those guys, except for Mac Jones, of course, are going to carry ownership. If I had to get to one, it'd be C-Mac just because he has such a high floor and high ceiling. What do you have, like 37 points last week? And in I think one game all year before that, he didn't top like 23. So he's been super consistent on an elite level. The only problem is the Rams are number 1 against fantasy running backs. He did get there the last time he faced them, but obviously it's just not a great spot to pay 9K for somebody. That said, in the name of Puka, I love C-Mac. If I have the money, I don't have any issue paying for him.
Yeah, I'm still getting there. I'm a little nervous about it. It is a pretty tough spot. We're seeing ownership on Kittle, on Jennings as well. So kind of a lot of ownership for a team that's not in a great matchup. They are at home. Maybe that helps. And the prices are good. So I think that's kind of the main thing driving that. C-Mac's usage is what it is. He's probably going to get there every week, but nothing is certain. So don't think he's a must. He's always a great play. I'm not thrilled by it, though. Kittle okay, Jennings okay, and that's it.
Yep. All right. Last game of the slate here. Lions against the Commanders. The Commanders look dead inside. They are touchdown underdogs at home. I'm surprised it's not 2 touchdowns, to be honest. No Jaden Daniels on their side for the Lions. They lost to Minnesota last week. So you better believe they are going to be hard-pressed to win this game because they're in a race for first place in the division. Sun God comes in 8.4K, really good projection. He looks amazing. I love Jared Goff as a pivot away from Jackson Dart. 5.9 feels like just a fair price, really good projection, not going to be owned. And the matchup is sublime. And if you want to go take a shot on Jameson Williams or Sam Laporta, I'm fine with that. And of course, Gibbs didn't pan out last week, but his ceiling.
Yeah.
Okay. I think he may have dipped. Okay, so that's probably it for Taylor. Don't know if he's actually going to get back in on the conversation or not. So I'll wrap it up. You already heard what I wanted to say about the Lions. Very, very interested in Detroit. I think they're in for a big bounce back game. Pretty much any time they lose, they tend to come back and just annihilate the team they played next. Like look at week 1. They got smoked by the Packers, turned around and destroyed the Bears 52-21 or whatever it was. So I think they're going to be highly motivated to get the win. And of course, it is a very good matchup. Pass funnel defense. So all the Lions passing game guys look good. And with that ceiling, Gibbs looks good too. Okay, so Taylor is back. You got anything extra to say about Detroit?
They did lose to Washington in the playoffs. So
revenge.
We've seen the Lions running up on people, and this might be a spot where they try that.
For sure. All right, any interest in the Washington side?
Debo's cheap. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, you can always try Marcus Mariota at 5.3, but he's kind of lost his luster in recent starts. So not super excited to do that. It's mostly Lions or bust for me here. Taylor is buying out, and so am I. Hopefully this helps you out and leads you to some winning. If you want finalized plays, we have GPP picks, core plays, and we have a full rundown of looking at the slate plus cash game plays too. Head over to dfsbill.com. $5.99 a month to get to take advantage of that if you are not doing so already. And if you just want a Discord to hop in and talk shop for free, come do that if you're not there already. You can support the channel by liking and subscribing as well. Thanks for watching and good luck.